cloud. Okay. And now I am going to share my screen. And from the beginning. Okay, is everybody seeing GOBA, where oh where? I'm getting some thumbs up. Okay. Again, I am Jeff Stevens, the director of GOBA, among other things. Wish I could spend more time directing GOBA, but we'll get to that in a minute. So welcome tonight. Again, everybody upon entering the meeting has been defaulted to mute so that we keep feedback and side conversations to a minimum or excluded altogether. Please feel free to ask questions in chat, and there'll be a handful of times where I'll stop and prompt and ask if you have any questions or whatever, or feedback at some point. So feel free to type those things in. Lindsay and Tricia will get that in. Okay. So GOBA, where oh where? What will we learn tonight? Well, we're going to learn where we're going, what's the theme, what's left to plan, when will we know more of these details. And let me just say this, we are much further along in the process than we were last year. We were in totally uncharted territory, new communities last year, new regions. So we are, well, put it this way, we've been to every other piece of Ohio except where we were last year. So we're well ahead of the game. We have a handful of structural enhancements for this year, just like we did last year, a few new things. Go through the pricing issues, just a smidgen of a price increase. What's included in your registration? I am going to assume that we have some first timers, some prospects, some people that have not done GOBA here. So towards the end of this call, after I go through all the route information, I'm just going to do a real quick run through of what you get with your registration, and help paint a little picture, a better picture of what GOBA is all about. Of course, how you can help. So again, questions in chat if you have them, and we'll do what we can. First and foremost, the Great Ohio Bicycle Adventure is hosted and presented by Columbus Outdoor Pursuits. And we have not done a very good job over the years of letting people know that we actually present a handful of these major bike tours. GOBA and Towser have operated in silos for many years. Columbus Outdoor Pursuits was like training rods and boatings under another silo, but we're all under one big happy thing. And our core mission is to provide safe, full service bicycling adventures for folks. And we say since 1962 because that's when Towser, in essence, came under the umbrella of what used to be the Youth Hostel group that we evolved from. And since then, we've added more tours. So there's a snapshot of the upcoming major tours for next year. The Ohio to Erie Trail Adventure, we're doing 2 of those this coming year, one in the spring, one in the fall. This will be the 3rd year. We've had 25, 35 people last year. And as a reminder, it was the proceeds from GOBA and Towser that helped this organization grant over $1 million, or up to $1 million, to the Ohio to Erie Trail Fund over the last 20 plus years. So we're really proud of that in Ohio, and all of us should be proud that we have this fantastic trail. This the longest paved finished trail in the country. Ohio, I think, has the most rail trails of any state in the country, mileage wise, and it has become a destination. And GOBA played a big part in helping that. This coming year, we did a few bike packing trips last year, seminars, how-tos, then getting people out on the road and overnighting. We're going to do one on the Gap Trail, Pittsburgh to section there. So June, stay tuned for that. Of course, GOBA always stops Father's Day weekend. Cross Ohio Bike Adventure is July 20th through 27th, a one-way destination across the state. We had about 40 people last year. We'd like to get more. It's our organization's best kept secret. I won't mention the route hints quite yet. Tazra, if you've been following us at all, of course, America's oldest, longest running bike tour, and it is ground zero for the bike touring industry in the country as we know it, is struggling. And thankfully, a lot of people have stepped up. We've been very transparent with what's happening with Tazra, and we're confident that we're going to offer a Tazra this coming year, and we're confident that we have some modifications to keep it alive as we move forward. So stay tuned for that. And of course, there's a fall OTA as well. Enough talking about this other stuff. You guys came here for GOBA, didn't you? GOBA 35, Donut Trail. In search of donuts, 35 years in search of donuts. It's a quest. So where are we going? Where are donuts a big thing? I think everybody, we've not been too secretive about that we were looking closely at Southwest Ohio. So here it is. Our host communities this year are Eaton, Oxford, Hamilton, and Arcanum. If I'm not sure if anybody yet is seeing the connection, I'll talk about it later, but there's a big connection about this area in one of these communities in particular that has a lot to do with donuts. We have 1.5 new communities that have never hosted GOBA. And I'll say half, Jeff. Of course, Oxford and Eaton have been friendly, popular communities in the past. Arcanum has not hosted us. It's just Greenville is right above it, which has hosted us before. But Arcanum has a history and a capacity. They were the first host of the Tour de Donut, which was a race that you rode 35 miles and you got 5 minutes off for every donut you ate. And it has now since moved on to Troy. But Arcanum was the first host community, and there were 1,000, 2,000 people that used to come in for that one-day ride. So they are very happy to have a big mass of cyclists coming back. Now, you said, Jeff, a half a city, 1.5 new communities. Hamilton is sort of my half here. They were the start-finish of GOBA in 2016. So we parked our cars there at the fairgrounds, stayed overnight, but then kind of bolted out on Sunday and then returned the following Saturday. I'm not sure that we really took advantage or saw what they had to offer as a community. We'll be there midweek this year. Their downtown and riverfront has really become a lot more vitalized, vibrant. Vibrant's the word I'm looking for in the last 10 years, and they're excited to show it off for us. Here's just my little collage I do every year. We've got some covered bridges up around Eaton and Preble County. Of course, in Oxford, you have Miami University, the quaint cobblestone downtown where we're all going to go hang out. Yes, if there's a good tailwind from west to east, we will see the leaders of the Race Across America coming through in Oxford. And if you know my history, that's fun for me. Go the third line there are some images from Hamilton. They have a very nice amphitheater right on the river, and they're going to host a riverfront concert for us there. They've got, Jeff, why is there a picture of an old factory? That was like America's largest coated paper factory. I think they said in the world, but it has been converted into what is America's largest indoor sports space. So they have all these volleyball things and such, and hotels, and it's a fascinating thing. And I'm not sure that we'll really touch it much, but maybe we'll engage it somehow. But it's a nice community, and I think we're all looking forward to seeing what they have to offer. And Arcanum is it's a small community, much like Jefferson last year. And we will be there the last night and basically have our sort of I don't want to say insular activities, but we'll have our talent show. We'll bring in dinner, and they're actually having a beer tasting festival in the same park where we'll be camping. So, how about that, you old time Goba people? We can still be family friendly. Here are the Gobavilles. We're going to be in two fairgrounds, start and finish at Preble County Fairgrounds in Eaton. In Oxford or in Hamilton, we're also at the fairgrounds, tons of space, a lot of amenities. Oxford, thought that was thought that's a slam dunk community with the university there. We've been at two high school sites in the past and on university property, but they're having some major construction, and we kept getting edged out. Okay, well, I'll take the old high school site. Sorry, Jeff, we're going to pave that over because to displace the Carson. But it got complicated. And then they said, well, we've got this park right smack almost in the middle of the city, a few blocks from downtown, and we think it'll accommodate you. And I'm pretty sure it will. We had our campsite director, Tom, pay a visit, and we've yet to do the final measurements, but all eyeballs say that this is going to be a fun, cozy site, and they are very eager to have us, and they know how to handle us. So, for primarily because of Oxford, we're going to set the limit for GOBA this year at 1,200 riders until we have any indication that we can go bigger. I'll come back to that in a second. And in Arcanum, there's a beautiful city park that's right beside an open where the high school had a field house. There's a pool and some big grassy space where they have practice fields, but they have a wonderful shaded park that I think we're all going to love there. All these communities, I learned something last year. All these sites are everybody's going to be Gobaville is going to be clumped together in one big happy family, and our indoor campers will be right there, and everybody will be happy. So you look at this picture, and I purposely left Richmond, Indiana in there. I had a visit with them, and they were courting us hard, and we half thought, hey, this might be the year of GOBA, the annexation tour, where we actually spend a night outside of Ohio. But based on some wonderful things with Eaton, we steered away from that, and you'll see that our bicycle wheels will touch Indiana though. So because of that, we've got a new opportunity this year. We're going to add an extra day to GOBA on the front end. The Eaton County or the Preble County 4-H group runs a bicycle tour that had traditionally been the last weekend of GOBA or later. And we said, well, we'll somehow figure out a way to, have our GOBA people enjoy you and vice versa and see what you're doing. So they actually moved their bike ride to the first Saturday of GOBA. So we're going to have this year a GOBA +1 option where you can come in a day early and do the Buckeye Bridge ride that they have done for 19 years and support the 4-H scholarship program for a mere extra $30. And they give out those Buckeye candies, and they get around all their covered bridges. And this is just and it also allows us to do a GOBA weekend. So last year we sort of tested and offered to a handful of people and groups the opportunity to come into Jefferson and say, for a smaller fee, enjoy just the first weekend. You'll never transfer anything, but you can come in and do the first couple days out of Jefferson. And people enjoyed that. And this is a model that some of the other tours are doing. And this is a way for us to have people that can't commit to a whole week come do a weekend getaway. A lot less threatening, maybe from a mileage perspective, maybe do their first overnight camp, 2-day tour, get to see what GOBA is all about and the magic that is GOBA. Or maybe some people from, Columbus, Dayton, or, Cincinnati markets will come in here and look at it as a little challenge, spring training kind of weekend. I mean, last year I went down to the bike ride across Georgia spring tune-up weekend, and it was fabulous. It was all these folks, both, recreational fun tourist types and hammerheads were in there too, and everybody was getting along. So this gives us an opportunity to offer a little bit more with this Preble County 4-H scholarship group, in essence, hosting the Saturday ride, and we're bringing them people, if you will. So it's a win-win all the way around. And of course, there's always the traditional GOBA of, come in, register on Saturday, and then start your riding on Sunday. If you want to go look and see some things about the Buckeye Bridge Ride, there's the website, buckeyebridgeride.org. What do you think? Questions? Tap them in. You like? I'll let those come in, and if Lindsay or Trisha.
We have one question so
Sure.
far. So that means not a lot of questions, means everyone's very excited for the route.
I'm gonna go into a few more details about registration in a minute on it, but give me a question.
So one question, you might address it down the road, but just not concerns, but just questions regarding when we're staying more so at parks. If we have, heavy rain, thunderstorms, inclement weather, will there be emergency shelters and also options for people to maybe make that last minute decision for an indoor campsite?
Yes. We have emergency shelters already lined up. There's going to be, except for one community, I'll get to that in a second, the indoor sleeping options are big. We're changing the way we're doing indoor sleeping this year from a pricing perspective, but we'll come back to that, and hopefully those questions will get answered.
Yeah, we just have a couple questions about the indoor camping situation, and then
Okay, hang on and see if I cover them in a little bit.
Sounds good.
Does everybody want to know something about the routes? Okay. Here it all is. Here are the routes. Take a picture. Get it. Quick. This is all the routes overlaid onto one map out of Ride with GPS. I'm showing you this map for two reasons. One, we've already developed the routes. If you remember last year when we were in that new territory, all we had was a basic concept, and we hadn't stitched anything together hardly. So we know these roads. We have experience on these roads. They're cycling friendly roads, and wanted you to know that we've already developed a lot of these routes, and hence you're going to see some metrics in a second that'll make you feel at ease about some of the cycling challenges. Two, I show you this picture because there are lots of options. There's going to be a couple loops every day. So that's why I wanted to show you this. So let me, and also let me say this. The default mindset here this year is that there's going to be a standard route, 20 to 30 miles, and a longer route of 50. I don't want to minimize people taking shortcuts. When you're on GOBA and you're a GOBA router, if you do the long bonus one, you're special. But I just want everybody to know that these communities are close enough that we've got a lot of routes that might be considered a shorter or from years past. So let's get into some of these routes. All these are subject to change, tentative. All the reasons because of construction. Locals will tell us there are these better roads for cycling, et cetera, finding lunch stops, rest stops, points of interest, etc. Okay. GOBA weekend, the first weekend. The Buckeye Bridge Ride is probably going to be that left wing of the butterfly, northwest and south down to Houston Woods. That's what they've done before. They're actually meeting this evening and talking some. But we've sort of shared all our stuff with them and been having conversations with them. That ride I think they have options from 15 to 75 miles, but we'll let you know as soon as some of those get locked in. Sunday, and I purposely didn't want to show you the exact maps because again, they're subject to change. So you're going to see Jeff's wonderful graphics ability with the little sketch pen as we move forward. So humor me, okay? That loop on the right is the 50-mile route for Sunday, the loop. So you come into Eaton, you do a loop ride on Sunday and come back and spend Sunday night. That 50-mile route is 1,100 feet of climbing, by all intents and purposes, flat. Goes through Brookville, another old community that we have stayed at before. Monday and Tuesday. Monday, we go to transfer day to Oxford. There is a more direct route. I'm just showing you the longer of the two routes. 49 miles, 1,400 feet of climbing. You'll notice that there are hills around Oxford. You can't get away from it, but nothing draconian. But still, to keep this in perspective, last year's 50 miles routes were in the 2,500 foot range. So these are a lot flatter. And yeah, there are going to be a few little hills here and there, but nothing that should break you. And again, there is a 28-mile route on that required transfer day. Tuesday is the Fuchsia Loop, and it goes over to Rushville, Indiana. And we have Tuesday is going to be Century Day, not Thursday, Tuesday. So you'll be a little more rested and you will have come off maybe not quite as long a day. And for those that want to tackle the Century, Tuesday is going to be the most challenging of the cycling terrain. And there's a shorter loop at 52 miles, and we'll see if we can't even find another even shorter loop in there as well to offer up as an option. But again, Century Day, 100 miles, 3,800 feet of climbing on Tuesday. If you've been keeping track, that's 2 nights we've spent in Eaton, 2 nights in Oxford. And then we go to Wednesday, we've added a green loop and a brown loop. Now, Wednesday is the day that we go to Hamilton. They're very close. So we do have the most direct route is 20 miles, 967 feet. That profile over there, it looks a little bumpy because it's squished up and it's only 20 miles long. So, 900 feet shouldn't hopefully scare too many people. It gets a little hillier around Hamilton in that area between Oxford and Hamilton. Wednesday, again, is an optional day. That's the brown loop. This is a Dwayne Routemeister special. He was just so eager to map these because he knows some of these roads intimately. And we're going to be going through some metro parks, nature preserves, a few bike trails, etc. And taking in, I'm not sure if we touch some of our old host communities of Middletown and Miamisburg, but we're in those neighborhoods on the east or west side of the river. Again, this is a metric Century Day, Thursday, if you so choose. 2,200 feet for 62, and I can't see I can't see it for the 27, less than 1,000 feet for Thursday. Dwayne's Loop. Thank Dwayne the Routemeister. Friday, this is our longest, you have to do it transfer day. The Aqua, straight north from Hamilton to Arcanum. It is 51 miles. It's 1,500, 1,600 square feet. And you say, that sounds like a lot. But when you look at that profile, it's just a gradual elevation gain, and it's going to feel relatively flat. And maybe if we get a tailwind, it'll feel flat. So that's the longest day you have to do. And there's trying to arrange a point of interest rest stop at the end, maybe add an additional 6 or 7 mile loop that would go to a winery outside of Arcanum, where they have those jumping dogs, the dogs that run down the pier and jump and grab into the pool and grab a bone or a thing or have a certain number of feet, and they're very proud and want to showcase these dogs. And it sounds like a fun, to me, GOBA activity to maybe visit the winery and see the jumping dogs. And the last day is a very simple 31-mile dead flat ride from Arcanum back to Eaton. And So if you're keeping track or a scorecard at home, here's what it looks like. 4 optional days if you include the Buckeye Bridge ride. 4 mandatory days. Those are in red. And I've put the mileages from shortest and longest options. And if you did just the shortest possible required getting from GOBA host community to GOBA host community 2, you'd have to ride 159 miles. And if you did all the days, all 7 days, and did the shortest routes, it'd be 238 miles. And if Indiana wants you and you can't go back there, if anybody remembers that song, Indiana wants me, that shortest routes, you will not touch Indiana. And so if we've got some purist or some purists among us that don't want to step outside Ohio, you can do that. But if you do all the days with the longer routes, you'll be close to 400 miles. And if you add the Buckeye Bridge ride, you can add from 15 to 75 more miles. So there's it. That's hopefully that's quite a scheme there, and shows you that there's lots of options. Now, why donuts? Well, I told you about Arcanum and the history with the Tour de Donut. Butler County has a donut trail. Now, it's not an actual route or anything that stitches these things together, but their Convention and Visitors Bureau in 2016, after GOBA was there, they launched this donut trail. And I happened to be camping down in Houston Woods a handful of years back, and some guy came rolling in and stumbled from his car with a box of donuts and said, "I can't eat any more. Do you want some?" And he'd been trying to go to all 13 donut shops. And basically, if you go to all 13 donut shops, the Convention and Visitors Bureau will give you a t-shirt. Well, we figured, what the heck? They're proud of their donut shops. So we're going to try and stitch in donut shops into our routes. We know that there are donut shops up around Eaton and Arcanum and bakeries and such. So we're going to create some sort of quest. And I don't know exactly what it looks like or what the reward is, but maybe we say if you go to X number of donut places and get a donut stamp or whatever, you'll earn a special GOBA donut patch, or maybe a GOBA donut water bottle, or maybe a t-shirt. I wouldn't doubt that Butler County, which if you look at this map, Butler County includes 2 of our host communities, Oxford and Hamilton. So they're probably willing to step behind and help us promote this donut quest in some form or fashion. So if you got ideas, send them to goba@outdoor-pursuits.org or office@outdoorpursuits.org or jeff.stevens@outdoorpursuits.org. Just send them. If you got ideas, send them, and you'll be on the donut quest committee. See how I work that? As much as we love donuts, I still take payday bars as my favorite treat to have with me. So when we do you favors, Director Jeff always likes a payday bar, and this one's still got its ribbon on it. That means a lot, and those are great. Those are going to be all gone by the end of the winter. Okay. I don't know why I put this here, other than to say I used this last year for what's involved with host city criteria, but we've been to most of these communities before. We need to have space. We've got fairgrounds, city parks. The only thing on here that's going to be a little bit of a challenge for us is 2 of the communities we have hotel challenges. Eaton and Arcanum do not have hotels in them. There are some Airbnb situations, but in Eaton, the closest hotels will be up there over where you see New Paris at the intersection of 70 and the Indiana line over there by Richmond. And there are a ton of hotels there. That's probably where our staff block will be. But you'll have your cars there if you are a hotel type person and want a hotel for the first few nights. And then in Arcanum, again, the closest hotel would be about 10 miles, 15 minutes north in Greenville. And the Eaton to New Paris is maybe 15 miles or 15 plus minutes at best. So they're relatively close, but they are not in those communities. But again, GOBA is predominantly a camping experience. And so we try and have these, and we've got hotels, less than a mile, almost walking distance in both Oxford and Hamilton. It's about a mile away from us as well. So those were good. A note about prices. Again, we're going with the 5 meals included this year. 2 of our communities, Eaton and Arcanum. In Oxford, we can just set you loose in downtown and you can go get your college food, and Hamilton will have a lot of options, and we're still working out some additional supplements there. But in Eaton, the Preble County is famous for hosting a pork festival, and we're hoping and that they'll bring in and do some pulled pork dinner or something. Arcanum has got a catered situation set up for us, so we're probably going to have 2 dinners in those 2 communities and a couple light breakfasts, whether it be pancakes or something like we did on the last day this past year with the Amish, granola, fruit, and donuts. Did I say donuts? We could do, but we're going to include a couple, up to 5 meals in your cost. So we did increase our base price by $25. So the bottom line price starting this year will be, I think, $435. This is an adult regular full week of GOBA, $435. We want to maintain our children's registration costs at $125. Last year, we did not add a charge for those meals. We supplemented, all of us adults supplemented the kids eating. It's, that's the price of parenthood, and we're happy for it. But we don't want, there to be any disincentive or challenges to bring families and kids along. And we had, I think it was like 60 or 70 kids under 18 registered last year, and that's good. We're proud of our history of being the best family-oriented week-long bike tour in the country. The GOBA +1, meaning you come a day early, you do the Saturday ride, it's only going to be $30 additional, which is a straight pass through to the 4-H. So you're going to get some of the GOBA campground and the shower truck or whatever. You're going to get an extra day of that for only the $30 extra, which you're going to pass through to the Buckeye Bridge ride. They're excited to have us and really opening up for us on that. The GOBA weekend, it's going to be $125, 2 days. You'll get the Buckeye Bridge ride, of course, which will funnel $30 to them. But then you'll also get a day, the Sunday of GOBA, a meal or 2, and all the infrastructure of the GOBA camp, etc. And this year, indoor camping. I looked at it last year, and everybody that signed up for indoor camping signed up for all 4 locations. There was nobody that signed up for just one place. It's a pack of 75, 80 people that clump together and spend the whole week together in indoor camping, led by Champion Ron. So we're just going to charge a flat rate, $100. You don't have to go click 4 things in registration. Keep it simple. If you got a problem and if there's something, send me an email. We'll figure something out if you only want one night for one reason or another. But if there's inclement weather, we have a lot of space in at least 3 of these communities, and we can then station somebody at the door on a first come, first served basis and charge basically $15 a night to come in and sleep indoors for the night. $100 divided by 7 nights, $15. I'll speak more to indoor camping in a second. What else with some of the core pricing stuff? Some of you still, there are some people from last year who registered for 2023 that had some circumstances, and I said we'd roll over their registration to 2024. I've got a good email list of, a dozen plus of those people. I'll send you a code at some point. But if you still hold a 2020 deferral and think you want to use it, send us an email to goba@outdoor-pursuits.org, and we'll verify you and send you a code. We basically we burned off most all the deferrals we had, and thanks to your generosity and patience with that process, we were able to survive. And that in and of itself not only saved GOBA, but has saved Outdoor Pursuits. And we're stable and moving forward at this point. And hopefully we'll get back to the point where we can begin to provide some grants out to some of these other bicycle activities, the whole purpose of GOBA. All the indoor sleeping arrangements are set with the exception of Oxford. We have massive space at the 2 fairgrounds and a field house at Arcanum. In Oxford, we have a small gym that's on site at the community park, but it can only take 40 people. So we're currently working with the city people to find a church or school that's close by where we can find room for the other 40 plus people that we'll probably have. So stay tuned. We'll keep you abreast of that. But at this point, I'm sure we'll get it, but we'll have to split that group up in Oxford. The hotel partnerships, we've got them with 2 communities. The other 2, we're just waiting on hotel contracts to get that block opened, and we'll reveal that on our other accommodations site and announce it on Facebook. So you can then call and say, I've got my GOBA code, give me a little discount, and they'll help you out. We're going to have the Knights Kingdom camping services again. At this point where we're still awaiting some pricing information from them. So I will, unless I hear from them before I open registration tomorrow, I will probably deactivate those tiles for their services until they have a firm price and then open it back up. I don't want to be charging too little or or too much for their services. So again, that's the group that sets up a tent and you ride in and they carry your bag and they have snacks. And we've actually got some good work at supplementing some of the labor needs with them helping set up the tents. So again, jerseys by Primal Wear should have a design by January 1st. You'll see last year's design for t-shirt and jerseys on the registration page. Yes, I know it's last year's design, but hopefully we'll have that up pretty soon so you can see what you're getting. But I think everybody has always enjoyed some of the designs we've had. Registration opens tomorrow, quite frankly, when I get it ready to open. So it might be noon, might be 9, but I want to make sure that everything's linking correctly. And when it says click on something, if you have more questions, go back to the web page. I want to make sure all the links are right. So it'll open up sometime tomorrow. GOBA.com, www.goba.com. Go there. Early bird discounts will go until February 4th, and then the price will go up $50 for most of the registration levels. A little bit less for the GOBA weekend. The kids' price will remain the same all the way through. And again, I said right now we're going to say limited to 1,200 riders. And in a moment, my next slide or two, I'm going to talk a little bit, remind you about why. There's the web page. There's a big green button. You go to goba.com, look for that green button. It's right there, sort of near the top. Click on that, and that'll take you to the registration page. I inherited these websites, and we're still trying to get them up under the new Outdoor Pursuits infrastructure skeleton. but all those menu places over on the left, GOBA is a pretty complicated tour in some ways, and there's a lot of verbose verbiage in all those pages with all the details that tries to address all the questions you have and all the little scenarios that have been discovered over the years. So try to keep it up to date. There's probably some stuff that's a little dated, but again, the most important thing is goba.com. Click here for registration, and we will continue to try and point you to other relevant things when we post them via our Facebook, social media sites, and in our newsletters, etc. Now, the registration site looks like this. You might remember their little tiles. In so much that I inherited from GOBA, there's three things when there could be two, just two. So taking away some extraneous stuff, and the core things are right there across the top. The adult registration, the GOBA +1, adult GOBA +1, which you'll see is $465 if you want to come do the Saturday ride. The GOBA weekend for the first 2 days. And I can't see it, but the next one to the right. And then the second row is the children's levels and the redemption code tile. If I provided you a redemption code, that's where you redeem it. The non-rider fee here. That is, and I put that price in there. In the past, it was the same price as a rider. That's just draconian. But truth be told, the reason they were doing this was because there are a lot of bandits and spouses and partners that were taking advantage of, who were driving or had a car pass and were driving, and then partaking of the GOBA infrastructure, the showers, et cetera. In the case of what we're doing now, 5 extra meals. So I've heard from a handful of people that, let's make this more realistic, and we're going to do that. And so we're not going to charge $1,000 for non-riders. I think what we're going to do is probably say, if you buy a car camping parking pass, you can buy it for just the car. So if there's, a couple and they take turns driving and riding, they're both riders. We might have a car camping pass that for $50 for the car. And maybe there's another scenario where there's a rider and the driver. And so we might say, you know what, $100 gets you the car camping pass and the meals and the showers for your non-riding spouse or partner. So that's what we're toying. We'll come up with that number, and that might be a simple way to, quite frankly, make it a little simpler and a lot less, not incentivize people to bandit and take advantage of some of the things we're offering, to pay their fair share. And fair is the equitable, is the choice word there. So the next section is what's included. Now, and again, I'm going to fly through this, but I'm going to touch on one or two things that I know you have some questions about. Any questions, Lindsay, Trish? You guys dealing with it? Are you okay?
We have a couple. You've addressed a lot of them, and Trish and I have been able to address some individually in the chat. One, though, would be, do the riders need to decide as they're registering if they want to do that first extra day? Is that something where, let's say, a week or a couple days before GOBA, I do want to come down early, would they be able to add that extra ride in then, or do they need to do it when they register?
Well, we prefer you do it as you register for a couple reasons. That's not fair or nice to the other tour organizer to a week before the ride say, oh, here are 100 more people, and they have to plan accordingly. and they're not quite as big an infrastructure as we might be, or some of the things we run. So an additional 50 or 100 people, unannounced, if you will, or walk up, puts a burden on their on-road service, food service, because they provide a meal at the end, I believe. So if you're thinking about it, register. And we need to know if you're going to be coming and staying with us on Friday night. And if we need to set up our registration and sign in and check in for 50 people, 100 people, or 500 people, because that has a bearing on the volunteer load that we might need to help you get checked in on Friday night, as opposed to starting at noon on Saturday. So, yes, I thought about that scenario. I mean, part of me wants to say, I use this term, at least phrase, once every web, suck it up, buttercup, send $30 to the Preble County 4-Hers and send some kids to camp, if you're thinking about it. And it'd be a lot nicer to send them a little something and whoops, you can't go, or decide to come later. But yeah, we can revisit this down the road a little bit, and as we talk with them. But we're going to have a separate set of wristbands and things like that for the people that do that ride versus the GOBA and the GOBA weekend people. So we want to make sure everybody is accounted for appropriately, and that takes a little bit of notice.
All right, thank you. And then are we using the same shower trucks that we did last year? I know we had a long time company, and then I think they retired. So last year we had new people, different kind of configurations. People seem to like the privacy. It's the same company.
Yes. Northern Exposure out of Minnesota. I'm going to reference them a little bit later. I'm going to remind people of some of the major costs with GOBA, and we'll remind people that our longtime vendor of 25 plus years at the last minute said we're going to take it from $25,000 and now we're going to charge you $75,000, and we had to really scramble. That would have broke the whole event, and it could have been wash pails and baby wipes for a week, and hoses. So yeah, they'll be bringing, I'm pretty sure, a truck and a half this year or something, little different configuration for a little bit more. So this group has been around for about 5 years and has really found a niche with bicycle tours, and they're handling most of the major bike tours here in the Midwest and around up and down the East Coast. So they're doing bike ride across Georgia and some of the others. Yeah, same group, and we all learn a little bit. I don't think I've stepped in the showers, but I forget what they look like. So should I go on?
I had one other one. I don't know if I missed it. Is there going to be a Century option on any of the days?
On Tuesday.
Okay, thanks. I forgot. I couldn't hear everything.
Almost entirely in Indiana. Indiana wants me, but I can't go. Yes. And then a metric Century option on Thursday. So throw a couple different distances at you for yucks and giggles. Okay. Here are all the things, just to remind you what is included in your registration for new timers. Gives me a chance to talk about a few other things. 90% of GOBA is a primitive camp setup, but here, I put this up here to just remind people that 10 plus years ago, Ohio law changed, and the maximum number for a temporary campground is set at 1,500 people. And these temporary camps need to be marked and monitored and of certain size. And that took an even more draconian turn during the pandemic. So again, it's not first come, first serve, whatever, throw your tent up anywhere, find a tree, etc. I heard just horror stories about Ragbri this past year, that it was just people were sending me notes saying, Jeff, it's like they don't have a health department out here. It's crazy. So again, we establish, we set plans, we file them, and get permits with the health departments. We have inspections from the health departments. We have a team that's out there that marks the sites. So again, remember the rule is if you don't see a marked spot, don't put your tent there. Things are going to be a lot simpler this year. 2 fairgrounds and these other city parks are beautiful, and you're going to find some shade in a couple of them. So I think you won't have any sweat there. Choose for camping, designated spots. Yeah, okay. Now, Nice Kingdom will offer their service. They do towel service as well. That'll come back again, I think, at $30. Car camper parking permits. We're trying to, quite frankly, some people have been taking a few too many liberties with that, and particularly last year, and compromising our status with departments of health and some of the plans we file and the permits we get. We had a situation last year that resulted in a health department, law enforcement person having to talk to somebody. So we're trying to change the verbiage here and change your mindset. Just because you buy a car camping pass, actually what you're probably buying is the ability to have somebody bring your car forward and park it close to camp. Now, 2 of the facilities, the fairgrounds, you're going to be able to set up your tent. Actually, 3 of the facilities, probably, you're going to be able to set up your tent kind of within 10 or 15 feet of your car and have access to your hidden cooler with your fizzy drinks and replenishment, your carbohydrate replacement drinks. So that's not going to be a problem, but we're going to have, there'll be another site where you might have to walk 100 feet to set up your tent, and like we did last year in Willoughby. So again, keep in mind, this is not the ability to go throw your car anywhere you want. Again, we will have a designated area for little RVs and pop-up trailers and sprinter vans, another set of designated areas for people with their car who want to set up their tent, behind it or next or very close to it. So again, we just want to change the mindset that you're buying a pass to bring your car forward and to park the car. And we're going to have some limited, a little bit of limited situation in Oxford for that. Bringing the snooze box again. I think we had sold 2 plus of the 5 rooms last year. That thing sells out at other tours, and yeah, it sounds expensive in some ways, but you can pack 4 to 5 people in each one of those rooms. You buy it for the whole week, and you put your stuff in there. You never have to worry about packing and unpacking, setting up a tent, or rolling out a sleeping bag in the on a gym floor, or carting your bags here or there. It's convenient, it's air conditioned, and take a look-see and give it a consideration. It looks like a pretty fun family sort of situation. And we might, I don't know if we'll offer a shuttle to the hotels. That's still yet to be determined. More camper services. Just so the people, the new timers know, we have an information booth, a bulletin board where all the major things are posted. The host community will be there with information about what restaurants to go to, where to get your burger or your sushi or whatever it is, where there might be a church basement dinner, etc. We'll try and post that stuff not only beforehand, but they're at the camp. We always try and have a food truck or 2 in the camp for your afternoon snack, and particularly for coffee in the morning. We offer a medical team where we have a medical RV, and they provide an hour-long clinic in the morning and the afternoon for scrapes, burns, dehydration. We carry some meds in the RV, in the refrigerator. Of course, we offer a shower truck and tons of porta potties, and we cart your bags with luggage trucks. All of our favorite Dave Bear from Bear Wheels is there with his bike shop needs and providing some mechanical stuff. Take care of your bikes before GOBA, people. Don't pull it down the week before and expect to have the thing go. not only the bike, but you get on the bike and ride some before GOBA. Look at that charging trailer. I love that picture in the top right. We built that last year, and space inside for like, we're adding more phone spaces on the other side of the trailer. But isn't that a cool picture at night, all lit up? 100 phones, and outside we had the spaces where we could charge your e-bike batteries or CPAP batteries. Yes, all of our camps will be set up with a designated CPAP area for those that need that, that'll be close and have electricity available. Forgot that. But this is self-contained. We can handle all of GOBA with the couple generators we have, but we also like to plug in and have supplemental. But that seemed to be go over well last year, and it's become, quite frankly, an expectation of a tour like this, that we have something like that. Our massage therapist team should be back, and we have spaces for them indoors and quiet and peaceful. And we have an emergency weather shelter in all of our locations. We've got law enforcement where we need it, security to keep an eye on things in some of the places where we need it, but always bring a bike lock to lock your bike up. Now, on the road, we provide routes. You're going to get the final routes the Monday before GOBA. Of course, those are subject to change. That's Dwayne, the route meister, down there at bottom right, and his handy dog. I forget the dog's name, but Dwayne's been doing our routes and marking our routes, and he's out in advance marking the routes and finding extra holes and potholes and sudden detours. And he's out there a day before, and he marks it 2 weeks or a week prior, but then he's still out a day or two in advance for any super last minute things, and we work around it. But we will provide a link to all the routes, the GPS routes, and Ride with GPS. Ask you to print your own maps or cue sheets, and we will print a few. If we have to provide you with a map, you owe us a small payday bar. The roads are marked very well, and we'll have signs for attractions and points of interest, etc. I hear so many stories of people say, I don't even bother with those route maps or whatever, because the roads are marked so well. Speaking of which, I put a picture of last year's sort of little registration booklet. Now, last year, those routes we put in there were they weren't detailed totally exact, but it was a way to help you plan your day and know what was along the way and what the elevation looked like. We'll have another book like this year, and maybe the routes will be finalized enough that they'll be pretty on point. We offer a SAG team. Pete's with us tonight, who's a wonderful longtime volunteer. And these guys are out there. The phone number for the hotline will be on your wristband. SAG is not an Uber. It's there for when there's a showstopper. If you need to get on your bike and ride some before GOBA. Now, again, this year's terrain won't shock some of you. Last year, on the day from Willoughby to Kent, we sagged in 29 people out of over 1,000. That's actually pretty remarkable. And a lot of those were people that were fatigued, but we do our best to keep those people available for emergencies. There's really no need for an ambulance squad anymore, because everybody carries a phone. 911's and a paramedic are minutes away, and particularly in this region, we're close to a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick, Jeff?
Please.
Cool. All right. Just Pete wanted to send a reminder maybe about just the camping zones, SAG camping, medical camping, just everyone making sure that you camp in areas where you're supposed to, don't camp in areas where you're not supposed to. I don't know if we need to go further into that, but just be mindful. Yeah. There's medical camping, SAG camping, car camping, there's all of that. So we'll look out for the signage. That will be helpful for everyone. Dwayne's dog is named Bella.
Give a little consideration to the volunteers who are out there on the road helping you all day. we set aside usually a special spot with some electricity for them so they can charge their radios and devices and gizmos, etc. So,
And then we have to give a shout out to Bella, the dog. That's Dwayne's dog.
Bella, that's
Bella.
right. Okay.
And in terms of charging, we're going to be offering, you touched on the one trailer can charge about 100 devices, 24 e-bikes. Aside from that, at campground, or will there be additional charging aside from that charging station,
Yeah, you'll find plenty of charging this year.
especially at fairgrounds? And will there be breakfast at camp each day? More to come.
Yet to be determined. Yeah, we're gonna working on trying to provide a breakfast as part of the registration fee at a couple of the sites. And you know, again, it's working with these communities to make sure we can get something out there. So I'm not going to say anything definitively yes or no on that, but we're working on it.
And last, Dwayne and Pete have me cracking up in the chat box talking now. Everyone's making me want to eat a donut right now, but we need an unofficial theme song for this year. Just an idea.
Donut. Donut. Huh. Okay.
We can work more on that, but
Okay.
That's all the questions so far.
I just pulled this slide from last year because this was what I was showing in June. Again, distances 20 to 50 miles a day. You've got 4 mandatory transfer days, 159 miles minimum, 3 optional loop days. We provide and point out AM and PM rest stops and a lunch stop. Again, those are on your own. So bring money, bring cash, bring $1 bills, and support the local groups. Most of these groups will be, we're finding these are harder and harder to secure because the volunteer pools for organizations are aging out, et cetera, or, you know, video gaming out. You can't find the young people quite as much anymore. So, but, you know, some of these groups won't be set up with a credit card, you know, swipe. So just be ready with exact money, and you all know the drill. So, and of course we provide a food grid, a 1-page thing that says here's what's going to be available where on tomorrow's route. And that stuff will hopefully be a lot of the basics, the big basics will be in your blue guidebook at the beginning of GOBA, so that you'll know like where the meals are that we are providing and when and where. And of course, we always point out the points of interest. That's the fun part that's coming up now, is going out and finding the geodesic domes and the 75-foot Mother Marys and the massive model railroad layouts. GOBA cost. I just want to remind people of this because everybody seemed a little shocked last year, but you know, GOBA cost a lot to put on. Shower truck was $30,000, porta pots $30,000, luggage trucks $15,000. You know, the gas and the camp, renting the campsites and the fairgrounds and the parks and the bands and entertainment. You know, somebody once said, "Oh, look, the band, you know, the city's got a band for us. Isn't that nice of them?" Well, you know what? It's because, you know, no, GOBA is providing the money, and the city just secured the band and set up the stage and, you know, et cetera. So last year we provided a lot of tables, tents, and chairs for lunch stops and stuff. So, and there's law enforcement. We never quite know how many of those we might need, or security details, or where there might be problem intersections. But this year's should be a pretty tame. So if you do the math there, it's, you know, there's a lot of stuff, and so that's why GOBA is still the best value bike tour anywhere around, offering what it does. And quite frankly, it's a lot of it is based on just the economies of scale we have, and the nice following. And you know, even at 1,200 riders, 1,000 riders, 1,500 riders, whatever it is, it's those are numbers that allow us to keep these costs reasonable and allow us to attract the family type groups that we do. Again, goba.com, www.goba.com, the green button right there on the top of the page. That's where you go to register tomorrow. Just check back. We'll go in at noon. With 1,200 spots, I don't think the 250 people here tonight are going to get locked out, but you know, we're hoping that you know, we see those kinds of numbers and there is some urgency. Speaking of which, Ohio has created a commission to celebrate America's 250th anniversary, July 2026. They approached us and said, we hear you have a pretty special thing and we want to work with you. They're already talking 2026. So they are very excited about the 250th anniversary. And if you were to look at a map of Ohio, you might find a road that has something to do with 250. And you might see where GOBA in 2026 might be. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Now, with the power of the state promoting this tourism, I just attended a call the other day with a group of people from 5 to 8 counties, all the tourism bureaus, and they're already writing me. And already they're featuring, the 250 Commission is featuring GOBA as a key part of the activities in this particular region of the state. It's their highlight, their platform for a lot of what they're going to do. So imagine all these little towns who have historical things that date back to 250 and showcase why Ohio's whatever. They're going to be, I mean, usually we go root out and find all these little attractions in historical society museums. But in 2026, they're going to be building and creating displays, exhibits, etc. And they're going to be placing them convenient and in a way that will be a part and integrated with GOBA. So this is just a heads up that some of our board are already saying we're going to have to find a way to limit, you know, how do we deal with the onslaught of registrations for this special GOBA in 2026. And so we're going to look to those that are longtime and or recent participants in GOBA to offer those first introductions or those first registrations too. So keep that in mind as you register for this year's GOBA at www.goba.com. There, that's basically it. So there's all the routes again. We need your help. As always, if you know or live or one of people live in one of these host communities or thereabouts close by, I've already had one person reach out who's going to help with some lunch rest stops up perhaps in the Arcanum area, but we could sure use some help and integrate you GOBA riders into those host community committees. And your vision experience with GOBA helps trigger the light bulbs for the city people who are helping put things together for us. So we'd love to have your involvement. Send me a note and we'll engage you. We particularly need some help with lunch and rest stop coordinators. Board President Jerry and his wife Toby have done it the last few years. It's a massive task to go out and find these churches and high schools and Rotary clubs somewhere out there on the route to host a lunch or a rest stop for us. But the more we can divvy that up, the better. If we can get some help with that. We had it last year, and we have the guidelines and the books and the blueprints for how to do that. So let us know if you can help in any form or fashion. And if there's something we don't know, or you see yourself being engaged in some other way, we could use all the help we can get. As you've heard us say, Columbus Outdoor Pursuits was hanging by a thread, and there's one of me doing what 2.5 to 3 staff people used to do for all the events across our organization. We're finally building some human resource capacity again, but we desperately could use help from volunteers or those looking for some extra activities and engagement. So if you see yourself becoming engaged in some way, we're going to need people in these communities to help Tom, Mark, and set up the campgrounds. You know, there are all sorts of things we can do. I had somebody last year say, Jeff, this is a great event. I want to ride it, but can I give you my time the week before? Yes, I can find something for you to do. So, so there you have it. If you see yourself being involved in some way, engaged in some way, send us a note and we'd appreciate it. So that's it for my little spiel. Have I got it? I thought I was going to fly through it fast, but it was a lot of stuff. I probably covered a lot more than we did last year at this stage of the game. So any questions, comments? Everybody a rah-rah?
Yeah, I think we've gotten most of everyone's questions answered. One last one about if you need some volunteers for helping out with check-in Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I'm sure you would love that. So just reach out to Outdoor Pursuits or to your email address to sign up for a shift.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Jeff has been a little scattered the last 2 years and kind of got a sense of the event underneath me now. And we owe my wife Julie a great debt of gratitude for keeping me focused during some of that registration stuff. So but we can certainly use the help. And okie doke.
Yep, I think that's it for the questions.
All right. Did I keep it? Oh, just a smidgen over an hour. Oh well. We'll pull down the recording, set it up on our YouTube site, and put a link to it on the Facebook page and up somewhere, maybe on our web page that already has too much stuff on it. We'll try and put a link up there as well, so people can catch a glimpse of where we're going, what we're doing, and some of the basics of GOBA. Thank you all so much for your continued and long-term support. You will be receiving an annual appeal from us here soon, which I know you've received the last couple of years. You have literally saved us, and we're deeply grateful for that. And when I say you, I'm talking about our GOBA audience. 9 out of every 10 envelopes I opened had a note about the impact of GOBA on their family life, and that it was a wonderful experience they shared with their kids, and it launched them into a lifetime of outdoor activity, and it's meant so much to them. And 9 out of 10 of those notes came from GOBA people. So I want to acknowledge to this group that we are deeply grateful for that. Please remember us in your year-end giving plans. Because we're not, totally out of the water yet. We still need to build some capacity so that we can offer these tours at the level that we should be offering them. I'm scattered. I do too much, so we need some help to level set and get back and deliver the kind of product we know we.
Jeff,
yes.
this is Jerry. I'd like to add something. I'm the president of Columbus Outdoor Pursuits Board, and we can't thank Jeff enough for what he's stepped on and done as he's a single employee. Fortunately, in a few weeks, we have a part-time employee beginning. That takes us to 1.5 employees, still a full employee below where we were prior to COVID. Jeff mentioned something there about the lunch stops. My wife and I, for the past few years, have volunteered to do the lunch stops. We have informed Jeff this is the last year. So we are looking for 1 or 2 people to take over the lunch stops. Columbus Outdoor Pursuits pays your expenses, mileage, and if you have to do an overnight and that kind of thing, and you donate your time. It's kind of interesting to sit down with a Rotary Club as we did in Aurora, and they said, "You want us to serve 1,000 lunches?" I said, "Yes." We've never done anything like that. And we went to 3 Rotary meetings up there, and they eventually served a lunch. And this is what happens with these places, that they're just absolutely overwhelmed when you first approach them. We have books of guidebooks, menus, pricing, all those kinds of things. To us, it was rewarding to do. We also enjoyed it. But some of you may have heard the story. In 1992, with part of our blended family, we honeymooned on GOBA. We got married in June 20th, and June 21st, we were on our bikes riding. Anyway, back to you, Jeff.
All right. That, when you think about, again, a last call or ask for help, and when I sort of say, how do you see yourself being engaged? We have a handful of leadership positions. Tom Bills does our campground work, and Dwayne does our Route Meister stuff, and we've got medical RV people and all the great SAG drivers and support people, and what Jerry and Toby do. But there's a wealth of experience here, and I could not have assumed this role without, I had never done or seen GOBA, although I've been in bicycle tours for, 35 years. I couldn't have done it without the great leadership of these volunteers. And these folks are need to be rotating through. So we need to be bringing some other people along to shadow and learn from these great masters we have now, and potentially assuming a role into the future. And whether it be a pair, a husband-wife team, an individual husband-wife team, a small group of, we had some great help from some of the local clubs who banded together and really helped in the region in Northeast. But yeah, we need to continue to rotate some new folks in. So GOBA won't continue unless we get some other people understanding the institutional knowledge that's here. Okay. Again, I take payments and payday bars. All the donuts you can provide the week of June 15th to 22nd. Send me a note with what the donut quest looks like. And we are really looking forward to this winter and spring, getting out there on the road and getting to find some of these points of interest and create some fun activities for you. So we got a few things in mind. I talked about the jumping dogs, but we'll find more. So rest assured, we've got some solid routes, some solid communities. We've got a great blueprint that we did not have at this point last year. So we're confident we're going to deliver a great experience. And I got to thank Dwayne. My first year, he said, Jeff, remember, these people are entrusting a week of their vacation to us. So we take it seriously. It's maybe not life-changing work that we do, but it's important and gratifying and warm for all of you. So we take it seriously. With that, I guess I will close things down, and we'll call it a meeting. I've taken my screen away. Send me notes and questions on anything you have. Send me feedback. I am open. I'll listen. I'm a disruptor. We've gone to wineries and had wine tastings, and we have a beer tasting this year. Even though I'm a teetotaler, I don't care, but it's something that our audience likes. So we can do that in a family-friendly way. Anything else for the good of the group? Oh, I love seeing it. I can't see all the names when I have my screen up, so it's nice to see everybody here. Okay, well, I'm going to call it then. Thank you, Lindsay and Trisha, for helping out. Dwayne and Pete for all you do. Jerry, we'll talk soon. I'll be up all night working on the website. Not really, but registration will be open sometime tomorrow. Stay tuned. Tell all your friends at Thanksgiving. GOBA. And that's a wrap. I'm closing it down.